suggest about 82 yards, 82 metres, 90 yards. This is one of these holes where what you want to try and do is give yourself a good chance of birdie. A good chance of birdie here means that you stick it reasonably close. It's a nice green on that top bit as well actually, so you want to be underneath the hole. So this is all about actually just control again. You're not trying to hit it too hard, you're just trying to get it in the right direction towards the hole and leave yourself a putt that you have a chance of making. So I see a lot of people who play golf, a lot of people that are in business. Now maybe tell you a little bit about my background as well at some point, who if they manage their companies the way they manage themselves on the golf course wouldn't stand a chance. Because actually golf, you've got to think about it more than any other sport. It has, at one point it's really easy because the ball's not moving, but that also makes it really hard because the ball sat still on the ground, and so you've just got to understand your own limitations. The older you are when you start this game, or even if you're playing and you're older and you've been playing for a while, the key thing is just about swinging within yourself. So you see young kids play and they'll loop it right the way back around and they'll try and thrash it, just hit it as long as they possibly can. That's not really what golf's all about. Golf is about actually getting it round the course in the shortest number possible, lowest number possible, and leaving yourself chances. And then when you get a chance like this, then you take it. That's called a birdie. So the last one was like a bogey, that's called a birdie. So bogey you put on your pissed face, birdie it's like, hey, I'm happy. And none of that is about hitting the ball long, because it's actually, this hole is about 300 yards, probably something like that, so it's about 270 metres, I guess. And so there'll be a lot of young guys will stand up on the tee and they'll be looking at, you know, thrashing it. To hit a ball really long and really straight requires a huge amount of commitment and a huge amount of practice. You might do it now and again, but not really. So, you know, golf is all about playing within yourself. That's really it. And that's all I got to say about that, Josh. The one good thing about this though that I should let you know, you should be prepared for, because when you put in your score on these buggies and you get a birdie, then they give you a round of applause. Which is pretty cool. But I want to change. I need to get the applause. I tried here to cut it over the water and just ended up losing the ball in it a while back when I first played here. Whereas actually now there's a patch up there that's kind of quite dark. That's what I'm aiming for. Up towards there, so actually being over towards the trees on the right hand side is perfectly fine. The more you can make it go left, the shorter you make the shot. It's gone a little bit right, but it's okay. I hit that pretty damn solid, Josh. Right where I said I would. Oh. Well, there you go. So our plans for this channel are that we're going to do a few things. I think it's fairly safe to say. So we're going to play like this at lots of courses round about this area, and then we're going to do some road trips and go slightly further afield. Generally have fun. I'm going to play. So in some of these things we'll have just some friends that I have that I've made here, talk about the ways that you play golf over in this part of the world. Everybody who comes here has generally got a story, so you know, most expats. So I'm from Scotland. Josh here is originally from the Netherlands, and so we've got our own stories in terms of how we're here, I guess, from my point of view. So I'm from Scotland, but you know, my kind of business, if you like, is property development. Josh, I have no idea where this ball is. I can't see it.
There it is.
Oh, is it here? Yeah, it looks like it's covered in mud as well. Is it? Yeah. God, look at that. Now, actually, when you see this, so this is a par 5. Anyway, I'll come back to the story in a minute. It's a par 5, and this one hasn't been cleaned yet. So if you look at the grass, you'll see it's still got a lot of dew in it. Now, I thought the last time that I was pitching on here, I thought the dew would slow it down. It didn't really do it. So that's made me kind of doubt myself. But on this one, because of the lie of the land and because of the distance that I've got from here to the green, I'm going to just throw it up on the green and pitch it short of the flag and let it, hopefully it'll skid and grab, because I'll try and hit it nice and crisp. Clean wedge, clean grooves, because that's really important, and part a bit of spin, and then you can do that. So I'll play the shot, put out, and then we can talk about how I ended up here. And again, I play these shots slightly open. So I was saying to a friend of mine the other day, who actually has a hell of a time with these sort of shots, lefty. You got to keep your weight on your left side, because if you try and hit it back and scoop it up, so I've got some friends that do that. They'll play the shot from their back foot and come up on it like that. Never works. You always scull it, or it's really difficult to control. Whereas actually, if you keep your weight on your left side predominantly and come through and hit down, then you actually, look at the crap on that club. Then actually you get a good contact, and even if you don't hit it the distance that you want, you'll at least not do something really stupid with it. So you'll give yourself a chance. But here the idea, this is a scoring shot, so ideally I want to be pitching this halfway between the edge of the green and the flag, and letting it just kind of run out. So check and run out. Right, let's see if we can. Oh, Josh. What a pain in the arse that is. Well, there we go, par. So anyway, my story, how I ended up over here. I guess, so I, back in the UK, and I still do a bit of this, still got stuff on the go. I do residential property development. That's what I do for a living. Have done for a living. And jump in, Josh. And so I started doing that in. Oh, so I started doing that in Scotland, and then latterly moved down to England. Still living in Scotland, just outside Edinburgh. And here had always been someplace I'd want to live. So it's a bit bumpy this bit, Josh. And I suppose, so I got to the point where I was basically commuting backwards and forwards from Edinburgh to London, which kind of takes about, I don't know, takes about an hour and a half, or something like that. When you commute, more if you take the train, takes about 4 if you take the train. And we came down here one summer a few years ago, which we'd done for a while, but normally I wouldn't be working. Whereas we came down here, and I had to go back a couple of times, and it was like I was commuting from the sunshine that was taking me 2 hours rather than an hour and a half. And and I think, okay, so why am I doing this? And so we'd always thought, you know, maybe retire out here, but why retire? So I never fancied retiring as a kind of plan. I really love what I do, so I'll probably still do that to some extent. But actually, a big part of this thing, this Riviera golf guy thing, is actually, as much as anything else, it's some fun, and hopefully, so it's fun for me to do, but hopefully Josh, who's behind the camera, but it's also hopefully engaging and fun for you guys. So property development for me, it's a pretty reliable way to make money, and so I think that was make money. That's what it should have came out as. We've obviously had, so we're doing this So this today is the 3rd of September 2020, and 2020 has been just like the craziest year ever. So we've got some, we're doing, well, we're on 3 sites over in the UK that range in size from 9 homes up to 35 homes. And that's about my sweet spot, that sort of number, typically 25 to 50, but there or thereabouts. So still doing that, managing it from afar, because obviously we have, at time of videoing, we have quarantine issues, and so that means that really going over to the UK is a non-starter. And so we thought, okay, let's do something with our time as well here, and try and do something that's fun. And when I met Josh over here, so I'd approached Josh because we've got a couple of villas that we run as holiday lets. One of them is uniquely set up for running events. So I'd approached Josh about who's from the video brand. This is a plug for you, Josh. Probably shouldn't do this, but I'll do it anyway. So, and damn these flies. This is the worst of it. And we still got time, Josh. We're still okay. So, I was at an event that Josh was running as part of his his business interest down here. Him and his partner, lovely Robin. It's Robin is a girl actually, because I thought it was maybe a guy initially, but I'm told it's definitely a girl because I've met her. She's lovely. You can maybe cut that bit out, Josh, if you think that's appropriate. Didn't mean to call you gay or insinuate that. Yeah, that's probably a timeout job. Yeah, so as part of that, I got to meet Josh and his team there, and we were talking about how we could use, because what I want to do a few property development weeks, which are kind of things that I've done quite a bit of in the past, as a sort of week-long course from one of our villas. And also then I wanted to do 4 golf weeks for the year, and so I approached Josh and said, would you help me with that? And you know, he came back and said, actually, you don't want to do that, you want to do this instead, which is what we're doing. So this is what we're doing. So we'll find out if there is interest, if you guys like it. If you do, then I suppose I got to say this like almost every time, you know, there's a subscribe button, so please subscribe it. There's a notification button, please smash it, do likes, do whatever you do, share it. So one of the things that we're going to do, because we do lots of things, is we're running golf weeks. So as part of this whole thing that we're doing, we're going to be giving away some places to golf weeks for people who share and like and stuff like that. We'll do some draws. We'll work something out. They're not starting until April, so we're doing one in April, one in May, and then September, October. We're planning to do 4 next year. But that's not really what this is about. What this is about is actually having a fair bit of fun and seeing if I can improve my golf game any. So that's the plan. So with that said, we're going to go to the 9th tee. 9th is a really sharp dogleg right here. It's not a long hole. It's one of these holes that can really tempt you to knock it off and cut the corner. I've tried that without success. Who's this phoning? Oh, it's my mate Eduardo, who I should really probably take the call for before I go and play. So bear with me, take a time out, Josh. Eduardo, good morning. A more interesting commute and in a better style of life over here. Lifestyle here, I have to say, is absolutely brilliant. I have absolutely zero regrets about making the move here. I spent the first, until lockdown, I spent most of the time doing 1 week here, 1 week back in the UK, either out of London or in Scotland. But yeah, I've absolutely no regrets about coming here. And then since lockdown, which started March, it's pretty much been full time. So I've had 6 months all the way through the summer where we had a short spell where I was able to go over once for a week, which was great seeing the sights and doing all that. But yeah, so that's how I ended up here. And I think in terms of quality of life, there's nothing to beat it, because actually, look up at the sky, Josh, look at that. That's kind of barely a puff. You have this kind of weather all day long. We're out here, shorts, t-shirt. It's September. September in Scotland, I can't remember ever wearing shorts. I can barely remember wearing shorts in Scotland, full stop, but there we go. Anyway, concentrate. I won't concentrate, you bastard, but you can cut that bit out. It's from a film called Gregory's Girl. And that isn't it. Stay there. I just made the hole a lot longer, that's all it's done. It's not really a problem, but it's a shit show. So what I did there was I pulled it, which sometimes happens, so you swing round like that and you end up hitting the club that way, rather than what you want to do, which is clear your hips and hit it that way. Yeah, we ended up coming out here in March last year. Since then, you know, back in Scotland I went around with the same people that I had done for years and years, which is great. And I wasn't sure how it would be over here, how we'd make friends, but the one thing that I learned was that actually the expat community over here, everybody's in the same boat, so all the families aren't here. You've kind of got to put yourself out there and go and make some friends. And so, you know, my social life is far better now than it ever was back in Scotland. And you generally do it. So anyway, you spend a lot more time outdoors than we ever did in Scotland. And generally have a far better quality of life. We have a pool, and so it's, you know, when it gets too hot, you can go and cool yourself down. But I need to stop talking about this, Josh, and find my ball. Where's my ball? Right. Okie-doke. This kind of lie throws a lot of people because it's kind of uphill and side hill. So the tendency with that is to move the ball over to the left because your kind of balance sometimes goes, so it's really important that you stay solid on it. Again, just like I do in a lot of things, I've taken an extra club here. And I'm just going to grip down the shaft a little bit and try and stay really solid through the ball. This will be quite slow because of all the water that's on the ground. That was pretty good, Josh. We've done okay there. There we go. Good, happy days. Anyway, that was the front nine, Josh. So, we now go on to the back nine. I'm just going to finish off what I was saying about, and then you won't hear about this ever again. I found the lifestyle over here, and this isn't common with expats anywhere. It's fantastic, actually. I was sort of saying before I went and played that shot previously that, you know, social life far better than it was in the UK. We've made a lot of really good friends over here already in that time, and of course the other thing that's great about being here, because of the sort of like glamour of the place, if you want to call it that, your friends and family all want to come from the UK, all want to come and visit, and you probably got the same for your friends coming from Holland. They want to come where they're kind of guaranteed a bit of sunshine, right? So we have the same thing, and normally we've got, you know, most months we'll have somebody coming out, which is always great, or would have had lockdown not prevailed. But there you go. And then we found actually we've met a lot of fantastic people as a result of as a result of having the villa, which you will also see because we'll be doing some stuff on that as well. The villas that we've got, which are we've met some great folk who've come and rented them from us. So anyway, that's the last you'll hear of that for the time being. This is a short par 5. Back home this would be a long and really tough par 4, but here it's a par 5, and I think that must be to do with a degree of difficulty, because if you don't get it right off the tee, you've got bunkers on both sides of the fairway. You've got copses of trees which, if you tug it just ever so slightly, can cause you a lot of problems. And then towards the green, the green entrance is really narrow as well, so it's a really tricky thing to run on. But anyway, so that's probably got to do with it, because now rather than it just being length, you've got the slope system and so on, which derives the par of each hole. And that, my friend, is just about perfect. Right on that far away bunker. Why this channel? Because that's probably a good question. A question you should all be asking. Why would you want to spend some time with me doing this? One, I hope you find it reasonably entertaining, so we should have a good laugh. They'll not all be like this, which is just a round of golf. Some of them will be, there'll be lots of stuff about the area and the kind of lifestyle that people have. That's from effectively Monaco to Saint-Tropez. That's sort of Côte d'Azur, which is just the most fabulous place to live. So, climate is superb year round. You can come and golf here in December. You can golf in shorts in December. Yeah, it's a really nice. Look at that drive, Josh. Look at that again, just lovely. Tell you what, if you're in any way a francophile, or you're in any way into golf that's not too serious, doesn't take itself too seriously, then hopefully this is going to be a decent enough channel for you, and that you'll enjoy our bi-weekly or tri-weekly posts that we put up, and we'll try and make them informative and entertaining. It's not going to be like here's 4 hours of play on a golf course. It'll be compressed, and it'll kind of include lots of different things that we've got in there, and we'll just try and see if it works, which is kind of just like how I feel golf is. You try and see if it ever works. Anyway, I've got 200 yards to go here, Josh.
I'm not sure I understand.
You hate these bloody watches, actually, when they talk to you. I'm not sure I understand either. Ah, tugged it. Tidy enough strike, but tugged it, and that's the problem in this hole. Ah! You now end up. Yeah. Ah. Now in golf, Josh, this is called short-siding yourself, which means it's really tricky. You see where the flag is? So the flag is really close to the left-hand side. So the last thing you want to do is what I've gone and done. It's damn stupid. Now actually this shot, there's a number of ways you can play it. So there's a low-risk way that you can play it, which is probably what I'm going to do, which is just to pop it up in the air and just aim for the fat part of the green, except you're going to stand my ball again, Josh. Or you could try and bump it into the hill and take some pace off it. But actually, it's a pretty crappy lie, and it's also you're putting into some stuff that's quite hairy. So for me, it's just about knocking it up in the air and making sure I hit it hard enough. So this is one of these shots that before you play it, you should really practice it quite a bit, because it requires, whereas normally you would stand like this to play a shot, this time you've got to aim left and open the face. So you're trying to put maximum loft onto the club face so that it just pops the ball up. That means you can swing it out reasonably hard for the distances involved, and see if you can do it. And it's almost like a bunker shot. I'm just going to slide the club underneath it and pop it up in the air. Just like that. Now Josh, that, my friend, is called a golf shot. You should go up and have a look at that while I go and get my putter. There's a bit of skill in that, but there's a lot of luck in that as well, because it was largely just a thrash. But I'll take it. And that's an easy birdie. So that's a nice start to the back nine. It's always nice to get a birdie early on. Applause. Just to the front. Here's my club. So this one, Josh, this is a nice hole as well, because it's a 2-tier green, but the pin's on the bottom of the bottom level, which is fine. But there's a bunker to the left, which you want to avoid at all costs, so you want to be right of the flag. Right and short of the flag. It's a really short shot, which makes it quite difficult. Because in golf, the one thing you've got to be able to do, it's short and it's off a downhill lie. And so what we want to do with this shot, really, is just get it onto somewhere in that area. And it'll just then roll down. Now it's going to, you see the ground rolls to the left, so we want to be slightly higher up. That's like a 6 out of 10 job. So we know how this one's going to run. So we know it's going to run from the left down towards the right. There you go. Next hole's another par 5. This is a really, really good golf hole. This next one. If you hit this to the easy line, then your next shot, your second shot, is a lot trickier. And that's the hallmark of a good golf hole, I always think. Tricky shot though. Anyway, so yeah, I'm saying, what about competitions and actually giving people the opportunity to come out here and enjoy the kind of life that we're enjoying? So a lot of people will be interested in doing that anyway. But, you know, rather than say I'll give you a sleeve of golf balls or a fancy hat or something stupid like that, well, not stupid, they're very good prizes, and we might offer some of those very good prizes at some point anyway. But doing something meaningful, you know, a couple of times a year.
Great idea.
Do you think that would work?
Yeah.
Good idea?
Definitely.
Well, we'll give it a try. Let's see what if you've been learning so far. How are we going to play this? You've no idea, have you? No, the problem is neither do I at the moment. So now you see the bit that's tricky here, where you can make a real fool of yourself here. See how that green slopes back down here? So if you don't hit it hard enough, ball can grab and it can end up going off. And so you go from being, you know, having a good chance at a birdie, which is what you should have in a shot of this size, to then thinking, oh my goodness, I've got to scramble to get a par out of this. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to try and hit this slightly left of the flag, take that silly bit out of play, and try and get it up on the shelf just round about where the flag is, flag high. And to do that, I'm going to just play a little shot that goes forward, and then hopefully checks on its second or third skid. That's the theory. That's all I meant to do. You know, for the life of me, that looked like it came that way, and standing over it looked like it went that way. That's really annoying. Yeah.